welcome in. Today, we're diving into an explainer breaking down the foundational roadmap for a brand new AI learning channel. It's called the Architect of Understanding. Look, if the artificial intelligence revolution feels like it's totally leaving you behind, stick around. We're going to unpack the exact strategy this YouTube channel uses to take everyday folks from absolute beginners to confident architects of their own AI knowledge. Let's get right into it. So, why is a roadmap like this even necessary? Well, we really have to look at the sheer scale of the transformation happening around us. Artificial intelligence isn't just some niche tool anymore. It's actively transforming massive sectors of our world. We're talking healthcare diagnostics, education, farming, business, space technology, and honestly, just our daily routines. The channel really uses this breathtaking scope to set the stage right up front. Understanding this technology, it's just no longer optional.
Section 1. The AI intimidation factor. Is AI too complicated? Let's find out.
Machine learning, neural networks, deep learning, generative AI, large language models, data science, algorithms, mathematics. I mean, wow. When everyday people try to step into the world of AI, they are immediately hit with this massive avalanche of technical jargon. And this rapid-fire buzzword barrage perfectly illustrates the main barrier to entry for the general public. It literally creates a massive wall between the technology and the very people whose lives are being changed by it. And you know, that wall leads directly to a really common anxiety. Is AI only for experts? When all these heavy terms get thrown around at lightning speed, beginners just immediately count themselves out. They assume, hey, I'm not a math genius, I don't code, so this definitely isn't for me. The roadmap actually explicitly addresses this anxiety right out of the gate. Their antidote to that anxiety is this incredibly refreshing pivot: learn AI slowly, clearly, and step by step. This is such a conscious, empowering promise. By deliberately slowing down the pacing, the channel makes a real commitment here. They're telling you that this complex world is absolutely accessible to anyone who's willing to just take it one step at a time. Okay, moving on to Section 2, Building the Foundation, Step-by-Step Learning. Here's how they do it. The curriculum doesn't just throw learners into the deep end. Step 1, the absolute basics. They define what AI really is without all the Hollywood science fiction stuff. Step 2 covers the history of AI to build some solid context. Then Step 3 introduces the core models, things like machine learning, neural networks, generative AI, and eventually artificial general intelligence, or AGI. And it's only in Step 4 that they finally introduce the mathematics. It's a beautifully structured sequence designed to build your confidence at every single level. Now, about that math. The specific math menu they're teaching covers probability, statistics, linear algebra, calculus, optimization, and logic. But don't panic. The roadmap guarantees these concepts are going to be presented in a super simple, highly accessible way. Because look, the goal here isn't to turn you into a mathematician. It's just to give you a conceptual understanding of the actual engine that makes AI run. They focus way more on the logic rather than just giving you endless equations to solve.
Section 3. Beyond the theory, real-world impact.
What's really interesting here is how the roadmap makes it perfectly clear that this channel is all about real-world application. They're planning to dive into how AI can be used by governments to actually reduce corruption, or how it can be deployed to protect the environment, utilized to improve justice systems, and set up to really support healthcare. It completely breaks down how AI goes so far beyond mere computer code. It is a very real tool for profound societal change. All right, Section 4, the channel's core promise. Let's look at how they're making AI understandable. And this brilliantly illustrates the entire purpose of the channel. Think about it. Most people today are just using AI tools blindly, right? You type a prompt into a box and just hope for the best, without really knowing how the output was actually generated. Well, the channel's whole goal is understanding AI from the absolute foundation. It's about making that shift from being a passive consumer of tech magic to becoming an active architect of the technology itself. To make sure nobody gets left behind in this revolution, the channel anchors itself on 3 very specific promises. First, explaining complex topics in simple, everyday language. Second, connecting those abstract concepts with tangible, real-world examples. And third, moving step by step from beginner all the way up to advanced. It's a really solid, trustworthy approach. So, the ultimate call to action for the channel is pretty straightforward. Subscribe for AI Learning Made Simple. New videos coming soon. It's an open invitation to join a practical, hopeful learning journey. They're basically promising that if you put in the time to watch, they will provide the absolute clarity you need. We're going to wrap up this explainer with a really powerful thought that drives this entire curriculum. The future belongs to those who understand technology. We are literally at a turning point in history right now, and no one, absolutely no one, has to remain intimidated by it. You can choose to step out of the dark and start building your own foundational understanding. So the big question is, are you ready to become an architect of your own understanding? Something to seriously think about as you navigate this wild new age of AI. Thanks so much for joining me today, and keep learning.